It's John Beaudin, and it's our third interview with the great Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull. This is part one. This is Rock History Music. Remember, we have a brand new podcast. The links are in the description of this video where you can check it out. Silent Singing is the brand new book from Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull. In that book, rare pictures, also the lyrics to every single Tull song and every single solo Ian Anderson song. And as a lot of you know, the albums of 1971 are shining brightly. 50th anniversary of Aqualung and 40th anniversary of the album A. Nice booklet, beautiful. We start with our chat part one of us talking about Aqualung. Yeah, and Locomotive Breath, was that really about overpopulation?
Yes. Yes, it was about population growth, but it was talking about what we might now call globalization, so that it is population and its place in the expanding capitalist world that we live in, and it might have seemed back then a difficult subject, and it's a difficult subject today. People don't like to be reminded of the harsh reality of overpopulation, and we everything follows on from that. Everything from the pandemic crisis we're in, you can trace that back to the effect of huge population, the travel, the spread of the disease, everything to do with climate change. You can see how that is vastly exacerbated by population size. So pretty much everything that we might fear and be concerned with in terms of its effect on our great-grandchildren and their world to come is linked to population size of planet Earth. I mean, it was observed many, many years ago that probably the optimum population would be somewhere between 2 and 3 billion if we were to find a truly sustainable, workable place in the environment. And even that would depend on the miracles of modern science coming to bail us out of the trouble we get into. But it should be a sobering reality when you consider that when I was born in 1947, the population of planet Earth was, a moderate one. It was kind of looking probably a little heating up, but okay. And, if you ask people, well, by how much in my lifetime do you think the population of Earth has grown? They might say, 50%. Mm-hmm. Some bullish people might say, 100%, it's probably doubled. I mean, they should be quite shocked to hear that it's actually slightly more than 3 times now what it was when I was born. So in one person's lifetime, we have seen a tripling of our population. And although there are many signs that in many countries that population growth has reversed into a slight decline, and that's the case in most European countries where the fertility rate is down around 1.6 per fertile female. Mm-hmm. And that would result in a slight decline in population over the next 100 years. We would be heading in the right direction. But of course, in other countries, it's still up around 5 or 6 per fertile female. And at that point, because that is occurring in countries perhaps in many cases least able to support population growth, especially in the context of climate change, that's what will result in incredible pressure for migration from people in particularly Africa and parts of Asia to areas such as yours or mine. And we have to learn how to deal with that vast level of pressure for immigration from people who simply are born into a world that, or into a national context that cannot support them. It will make today's world, with a couple of thousand people crossing the English Channel to seek refuge in the UK illegally, or a few thousand people swimming across a river in Texas from Mexico, it will make that look hey, what were we worried about back then?
Yeah.
That's just a trickle. We really have to face up to enormous changes, and that's what I'm trying to say in that song is, we are on this seemingly lemming-like suicide mission in terms of an unstoppable force that we seem incapable of dealing with, and we don't even want to talk about it because no one likes to be told how many children they can or cannot have.
Yeah.
But I think it is a personal responsibility that people should be aware that they can make when in educated Western world society where women who are educated have a degree of choice in what happens to them, then they very often are choosing to have smaller families, 1 or 2 children, or sometimes none at all. Hence the reduction in population in Europe. But that's not the case in your country, and it's certainly not the case in the African countries, for example. And it would be a hot potato if someone was to try and tell the American public, maybe you should think about just having 1 or 2 children. I mean, you can imagine that would be even worse than taking their guns away.
Yeah. Congratulations on Silent Singing. How did that whole project come about? Where did you get the idea for that?
About, I suppose, 4 or 5 years ago, I thought it would be one of those few projects that I would have tucked up my sleeve for a rainy day. And in fact, I didn't get the rainy day. I got a rainy year and 2 months because it turned out to be a pandemic project, since I had to abandon touring last February as all of our shows progressively got cancelled or postponed into this year, and many of them are now being postponed into 2022. But it was a project I decided to crack on with last year, and probably in June, July, August, I was working on that, listening to 350 songs in detail to painstakingly transcribe them. So I probably listened to more Jethro Tull music in a few months of solid listening than even the most ardent fans, because you have to listen to everything about 4 or 5 times by the time you've checked all the lyrics and then organized the punctuation and the presentation on the line breaks, how to present it in a way that will work for a heavy duty coffee table style book. And so a lot of work involved in all the layout and additional stuff to write, and just wrapped that up yesterday, in fact, with a few late additions, because some music that I didn't know still existed surfaced in Warner Music's tape store for a project next year for the 40th anniversary of the Broadsword and the Beast album. So there were some songs that had been rehearsed and presented and demos made, and a couple of them in multi-track form, plus a load of outtakes and other material. So it's a big box set project for next year. But there were five additional songs had to be shoehorned into the book before it goes off to the printers. So although people are ordering it now, it is a pre-order, and it will be delivered progressively as it rolls out of the printing presses.
We'll have more from Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull. We talked for about an hour and 15 minutes. Usually I get 20 minutes with Ian Anderson. This was a good one. We'll have more from him coming up in the next 3-4 days. Make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. Buy a t-shirt, help support the channel. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music.